Angel Falls. Angel Falls meaning is waterfall of the deepest place, or the fall from the highest point. This waterfall has been known as the Angel Falls since the mid-20th century. They are named after Jimmy Angel, a US aviator, who was the first person to fly over the falls. Angel's ashes were scattered over the falls on the 2nd of July 1960. It is a waterfall in Venezuela. It is the world's highest uninterrupted waterfall, with a height of 979 meters, 3,212 feet, and a plunge of 807 meters, 2,648 feet. The waterfall drops over the edge of the Ollantaytambo Mountain in the Canaima National Park, a UNESCO World Heritage Site in the Gran Sabana region of Bolivar State. The height figure 979 meters, 3,212 feet, mostly consists of the main plunge, but also includes about 400 meters, 0.25 miles, of sloped cascade and rapids below the drop, and a 30-meter, 98 feet, high plunge downstream of the Taylor's Rapids. The falls are along a fork of the Rio Iripacupimayu, which flows into the Cherun River, a tributary of the Carao River, itself a tributary of the Orinoco River. In 2009, President Hugo Chavez announced his intention to change the name to the purported original indigenous Pemon term, meaning waterfall of the deepest place, on the grounds that the nation's most famous landmark should bear an indigenous name. Explaining the name change, Chavez was reported to have said, "This is ours," long before Angel ever arrived there. This is indigenous property. However, he later said that he would not decree the change of name, but only was defending the use of Iripacupimayu. Angel Falls is one of Venezuela's top tourist attractions, though a trip to the falls is a complicated affair. Gioc, Detian Falls. Gioc, Detian Falls is a collective name for two waterfalls on the Quezon River that straddle the international border between China and Vietnam. More specifically located between the karst hills of Dachin County, Guangxi, and Strongcan District, Cao Bang Province. The waterfall is 272 km, 169 miles, north of Hanoi. The waterfalls are located in an area of mature karst formations, where the original limestone bedrock layers are being eroded. Numerous streams spring from underground fissures along the lower levels of the area. The waterfalls have multiple drops from bedrock layer to layer, which shows the multiple depositions of sediments of different hardness which formed the terrain over millions of years. The few Western tourists who have visited the falls enjoy the natural views and sounds. The waterfalls are visited by many people from China and Vietnam every year, being a shared natural treasure. The preferred Vietnam route is via Hanoi. The preferred China route is via Jinxi County. Many people have had enjoyable visits which they have recounted. Dettifoss. Dettifoss is a waterfall in Vatnajökull National Park in northeast Iceland, and is reputed to be the most powerful waterfall in Europe. The water comes from the nearby Vatnajökull Glacier, whose sediment-rich runoff colors the water a grayish-white. The superlative of most powerful comes from its water flow times its fall distance. The water of the wide Gioc River falls for more than 44 meters, causing a massive, crashing spray. Gullfoss. Gullfoss Golden Falls is a waterfall located in the canyon of the Vita River in southwest Iceland. Gullfoss is one of the most popular tourist attractions in Iceland. The wide Vita rushes southward, and about a kilometer above the falls it turns sharply to the right, and flows down into a wide curved three-step staircase, and then abruptly plunges in two stages, 11 meters or 36 feet, and 21 meters or 69 feet, into a crevice 32 meters, 105 feet, deep. The crevice, about 20 meters, 66 feet, wide, and 2.5 kilometers, 1.6 miles, in length, extends perpendicular to the flow of the river. The average amount of water running down the waterfall is 140 cubic meters, 4,900 cubic feet, per second in the summer and 80 cubic meters, 2,800 cubic feet, per second in the winter. The highest flood measured was 2,000 cubic meters, 71,000 cubic feet, per second. As one first approaches the falls, the edge is obscured from view, so that it appears that the river simply vanishes into the earth. During the first half of the 20th century, and some years into the late 20th century, there was much speculation about using Gullfoss to generate electricity. During this period, the waterfall was rented indirectly by its owners, Thomas Thomasson and Haldor Haldorson, to foreign investors. However, the investors' attempts were unsuccessful, partly due to lack of money. The waterfall was later sold to the state of Iceland, and is now protected. Sigritha Thomasdóttir, the daughter of Thomas Thomasson, was determined to preserve the waterfall's condition, and even threatened to throw herself down. A stone memorial to Sigritha, located above the falls, depicts her profile. Iguazu Falls. The Iguazu Falls are waterfalls of the Iguazu River, on the border of the Argentine province of Misiones and the Brazilian state of Paraná. They are the largest waterfalls system in the world. The falls divide the river into the upper and lower Iguazu. The Iguazu River rises near the city of Curitiba. For most of its course, the river flows through Brazil. However, most of the falls are on the Argentine side, below its confluence with the San Antonio River. The Iguazu River forms the boundary between Argentina and Brazil. The name Iguazu comes from the Guarani or Tupi words Y, meaning water. Legend has it that a deity planned to marry a beautiful woman named Napi, who fled with her mortal lover Taroba in a canoe. In a rage, the deity sliced the river, creating the waterfalls and condemning the lovers to an eternal fall. The first European to record the existence of the falls was the Spanish conquistador Alvar Núñez Cabeza de Vaca in 1541. The Iguazu Falls are arranged in a way that resembles a reversed letter J. The border between Brazil and Argentina runs through the Devil's Throat. On the right bank is the Brazilian territory, which has just over 20% of the jumps of these falls, and the left side jumps are Argentine, which make up almost 80% of the falls. There are two international airports close to Iguazu Falls: the Argentine Cataratas del Iguazu International Airport and the Brazilian Foz do Iguaçu International Airport. Argentina's airport is 25 kilometers, 16 miles, from the city of Iguazu, but is closer to the falls hotels than its Brazilian counterpart. There are bus and taxi services from and to the airport falls. Brazil's airport is between Foz do Iguaçu, Brazil, and the falls. Kaieteur Falls. Kaieteur Falls is the world's largest single-drop waterfall by the volume of water flowing over it. Located on the Potaro River in the Kaieteur National Park, it sits in a section of the Amazon rainforest included in the Potaro Siparuni region of Guyana and claimed by Venezuela as Guiana Esquiva. It is 226 meters, 741 feet, high, when measured from its plunge over a sandstone and conglomerate cliff to the first break. It then flows over a series of steep cascades that, when included in the measurements, bring the total height to 251 meters, 822 feet. While many falls have greater height, few have the combination of height and water volume. And Kaieteur is among the most powerful waterfalls in the world, with an average flow rate of 663 cubic meters per second, 23,400 cubic feet per second. Kaieteur Falls is about 4 times higher than Niagara Falls, and about twice the height of Victoria Falls. It is a single-drop waterfall, upriver from the falls. The Potaro Plateau stretches out to the distant escarpment of the Pacarama Mountains. The Potaro River empties into the Essequibo River, which is one of the longest and widest rivers in South America and the longest river in Guyana. Kaieteur Falls is a major tourist attraction in Guyana. It is in Kaieteur National Park in the center of Guyana's rainforest. The park is served by Kaieteur International Airport, about a 15-minute walk from the top of Kaieteur Falls, with frequent flights to Ogle Airport and Chedlejogan International Airport in Georgetown. Sutherland Falls. Sutherland Falls is a waterfall near Milford Sound in New Zealand's South Island. At 580 meters, 1,904 feet. The falls were long believed to be the tallest waterfall in New Zealand. However, Brown Falls cascades 843 meters, 2,766 feet, down a mountainside in Doubtful Sound, leading some to view that as the tallest waterfalls in 3 cascades. The upper is 229 meter tall, middle, 248 meter, lower, 103 meter tall. Vertical fall of 580 meter is made over 480 meter of horizontal distance. Thus the mean grade of falls is approximately 56 degrees. The base of Sutherland Falls is a 90 minutes return walk from Quintin Public Shelter on the Milford Track. Victoria Falls. Victoria Falls is a waterfall in southern Africa on the Zambezi River at the border between Zambia and Zimbabwe. It has been described by CNN as one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. David Livingstone, the Scottish missionary and explorer, is believed to have been the first European to view Victoria Falls on November 16, 1855. While it is neither the highest nor the widest waterfall in the world, Victoria Falls is classified as the largest, based on its combined width of 1,708 meters, 5,604 feet, and height of 108 meters, 354 feet, resulting in the world's largest sheet of falling water. There are 2 islands on the crest of the falls that are large enough to divide the curtain of water even at full flood. Boruca Island, or Cataract Island, nears the western bank, and Livingston Island near the middle, the point from which Livingstone first viewed the falls, at less than full flood. Additional islets divide the curtain of water into separate parallel streams. The main streams are named, in order, from Zimbabwe, west, to Zambia, east. Devil's Cataract, called Leaping Water by some. Main Falls, Rainbow Falls, the highest, and the Eastern Cataract. By the end of the 1990s, almost 400,000 people were visiting the falls annually, and this was expected to rise to over 1 million in the next decade. Unlike the game parks, Victoria Falls has more Zimbabwean and Zambian visitors than international tourists. The attraction is accessible by bus and train, and is therefore comparatively inexpensive to reach. A famous feature is the naturally formed armchair, now sometimes called Devil's Pool, near the edge of the falls on Livingstone Island on the Zambian side. When the river flow is at a certain level, usually between September and December, a rock barrier forms an eddy with minimal current, allowing adventurous swimmers to splash around in relative safety a few feet from the point where the water cascades over the falls. Occasional deaths have been reported when people have slipped over the rock barrier. Yosemite Falls. Yosemite Falls is the highest waterfall in Yosemite National Park, dropping a total of 2,425 feet, 739 meters, from the top of the upper fall to the base of the lower fall. located in the Sierra Nevada of California. It is a major attraction in the park, especially in late spring when the water flow is at its peak. The falls consist of 3 sections. Upper Yosemite Fall. The 1,430-foot, 440 meters, plunge alone is among the 20 highest waterfalls in the world. Trails from the valley floor and down from other park areas outside the valley lead to both the top and base of Upper Yosemite Fall. The upper fall is formed by the swift waters of Yosemite Creek, which, after meandering through Eagle Creek Meadow, hurl themselves over the edge of a hanging valley in a spectacular and deafening show of force. Middle Cascades. Between the 2 obvious main plunges, there are a series of 5 smaller plunges collectively referred to as the Middle Cascades. Taken together, these account for a total drop of 675 feet, 206 meters, more than twice the height of the lower fall. Because of the narrow, constricted shape of the gorge in which these drops occur, and the lack of public access, they are rarely noted. Most viewpoints in the valley miss them entirely. Several vantage points for the Cascades are found along the Yosemite Falls Trail. Several hikers climbing down from the trail towards the Cascades have required an expensive helicopter rescue due to steep and slippery terrain and features. Lower Yosemite Fall. The final 320-foot, 98 meters, drop adjacent to an accessible viewing area provides the most used viewing point for the waterfalls. Yosemite Creek emerges from the base of the lower fall and flows into the Merced River nearby. Like many areas of Yosemite, the plunge pool at the base of the lower fall is surrounded by dangerous jumbles of talus-made, even more treacherous by the high humidity and resulting slippery surfaces. In years of little snow, the falls may actually cease flowing altogether in late summer or fall. A very small number of rock climbers have taken the opportunity to climb the normally inaccessible rock face beneath the falls. Although this is an extraordinarily dangerous undertaking, a single afternoon thunderstorm could restart the falls, sweeping the climbers off the face. Lower Yosemite Fall is easily accessible near the Yosemite Lodge in Yosemite Valley. The top of Upper Yosemite Fall may be reached via a steep, strenuous, and usually crowded 3.5 miles, 5.6 kilometers, hike beginning near Camp 4. The upper fall may also be reached via several routes from the Tioga Road to the north. Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls is the collective name for 3 waterfalls that straddle the international border between Canada and the United States, more specifically, between the province of Ontario and the state of New York. They form the southern end of the Niagara Gorge. From largest to smallest, the 3 waterfalls are the Horseshoe Falls, the American Falls and the Bridal Veil Falls. The Horseshoe Falls lies on the border of the United States and Canada, with the American Falls entirely on the American side, separated by Goat Island. The smaller Bridal Veil Falls are also on the American side, separated from the other waterfalls by Lunar Island. Located on the Niagara River, which drains Lake Erie into Lake Ontario, the combined falls form the highest flow rate of any waterfall in the world. That has a vertical drop of more than 165 feet, 50 meters. Horseshoe Falls is the most powerful waterfall in North America, as measured by flow rate. The falls are 17 miles, 27 kilometers, north-northwest of Buffalo, New York, and 75 miles, 121 kilometers, south-southeast of Toronto, between the twin cities of Niagara Falls, Ontario, and Niagara Falls, New York. Niagara Falls was formed when glaciers receded at the end of the Wisconsin glaciations, the last ice age, and water from the newly formed Great Lakes carved a path through the Niagara escarpment en route to the Atlantic Ocean. Peak visitor traffic occurs in the summertime. when Niagara Falls is both a daytime and evening attraction. From the Canadian side, floodlights illuminate both sides of the falls for several hours after dark, until midnight. The oldest and best-known tourist attraction at Niagara Falls is the Maid of the Mist boat cruise, named for an ancient Onara Indian mythical character, which has carried passengers into the rapids immediately below the falls since 1846. Cruise boats operate from boat docks on both sides of the falls. American side. From the US side, the American Falls can be viewed from walkways along Prospect Point Park, which also features the Prospect Point Observation Tower and a boat dock for the Maid of the Mist. Goat Island offers more views of the falls and is accessible by foot and automobile traffic by bridge above the American Falls. From Goat Island, the Cave of the Winds is accessible by elevator and leads hikers to a point beneath Bridal Veil Falls. Also on Goat Island are the Three Sisters Islands, the power portal where a huge statue of Nikola Tesla can be seen, and a walking path that enables views of the rapids, the Niagara River, the gorge, and all of the falls. Most of these attractions lie within the Niagara Falls State Park. The Niagara Scenic Trolley offers guided trips along the American Falls and around Goat Island. Panoramic and aerial views of the falls can also be viewed from the Flight of Angels helium balloon ride, or by helicopter. The Niagara Gorge Discovery Center showcases the natural and local history of Niagara Falls and the Niagara Gorge. A casino and luxury hotel was opened in Niagara Falls, New York, by the Seneca Indian tribe. The Seneca Niagara Casino and Hotel occupies the former Niagara Falls Convention Center. The new hotel is the first addition to the city's skyline since completion of the United Office Building in the 1920s. Canadian side. On the Canadian side, Queen Victoria Park features manicured gardens, platforms offering views of both the American and Horseshoe Falls, and underground walkways leading into observation rooms that yield the illusion of being within the falling waters. The observation deck of the nearby Skyline Tower offers the highest view of the falls, and in the opposite direction gives views as far as Toronto, along with the Minolta Tower, formerly the Seagram's Tower, and the Conica Minolta Tower, now called the Tower Hotel. It is one of two towers in Canada with a view of the falls. The Whirlpool Aero car, built in 1916 from a design by Spanish engineer Leonardo Torres Quevedo, is a cable car that takes passengers over the Niagara Whirlpool on the Canadian side. The journey behind the fall consists of an observation platform and series of tunnels near the bottom of the Horseshoe Falls on the Canadian side.